So how are you doing today?
Well, I'm disappointed.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about why you're disappointed, and don't mind if I'm taking notes, okay? This is just to remember how our session went, okay?
Well, you mentioned on our conversation on the phone that someone said that, my husband and I are abusing our children, and that is very, very upsetting because we don't abuse our children. And just by having you here, it makes me uncomfortable in the sense that, what people think that we're bad parents, and we're not.
I hear you say that you feel uncomfortable with me being here, and let me just say that I understand that this comes up. I mean, nobody wants somebody like me coming into their house to investigate. So I understand. So I want to tell you that I'm not here to judge you or anything like that. I just want to understand the situation, okay? So we all can work together for to better, to help the children and to help you and your husband as well, okay? So do you mind telling me, you know that there was a report made, right?
Yeah, and I think why. I think some people around our neighborhood, unfortunately, there are many different cultures in our neighborhood, and we're Latinos. We have our own culture and our own customs. We know how to raise our children. We don't think that children should be allowed to do anything they want. So we have our ways. Doesn't mean we're abusing them. And I think I know who called, and I think why. There might have been one incident that if people didn't know what was happening at that time, it could have been looked as abuse, but it's not.
Okay, do you mind telling me about what happened?
Well, yeah, last, I think it was last week, we were coming back with my children. We were coming back from the grocery store, and as you know, I have 3 children. 2 of them are twins, and they're 4, and the other one is just a baby, and he's gonna be 1 year in 2 months, so 10 months old. And so since my husband works, I'm the one that has to do. I mean, I work too, but I have a little bit of more time to stay with them and try to do the chores and do the grocery cleaning and take care of them. Try to take them to the park and stuff like that. So I was carrying the baby, I was carrying the groceries, and I was holding one of my children, Julio, his hand, and he was holding his other hand. But then Julian just crossed the street in the parking lot. And I just got so terrified because I'm here, and I call him and I scream at him. And of course he got back, but when he got back, I really spanked him on his butt. And of course my neighbor was watching, and maybe they don't really have corporal punishment with their children. But I was just terrified, and I couldn't go right after because, I could have put my other 2 kids in danger, myself, and I was carrying so much. But he just saw a ball on the other side of the street, and he thought he wanted to get it, but he didn't think, And I always tell them, you always look, to the right, to the left to see if any car's coming, and you always cross with me, but he didn't think about that.
I can imagine that must have been very terrifying for you, and I think that was the word that you used.
Oh, you have no idea. I thought my child was just going to be run over.
I know, I can imagine. That must have been very difficult for you, and I guess you acted out of, fear for your child's life.
Yeah, and my instinct right there was just to make an impact on him so that he'll never do this again.
I see.
And, I guess my other neighbor probably doesn't know this, but on our last neighborhood, one child was killed in the parking lot because she just came outside from the building, came across running, and then she was just, running, and a car just ran her over and she died. And since then, it's very difficult for me. I think I'm being overprotective, and I don't usually, I don't really spank my children, but I saw my neighbor watching me, and she gave me this look, like, like I was a terrible mother, but I wasn't trying to hurt him.
I can understand exactly how you feel. That incident at your previous neighborhood that you spoke to must have been very traumatizing for you. And I can imagine that you wouldn't want that to happen to your wonderful children.
She was a 6-year-old girl, and the father felt very guilty, and it wasn't their fault, but the child the thing is, a lot of people when they drive in the parking lot, they don't think about that, they're children, and some of them don't really respect, the speed limit, and they just drive so fast. I always, try to hold her hands when I'm crossing, but this time he just got so excited, saw the ball in there, and just crossed without even, and his little brother was holding his hand, and so I really couldn't even pull him back. But I do feel upset that my neighbor did that because, you should have told me first. I understand your opinion, but that is very upsetting.
I see, and
I feel insulted.
And I heard you say that you think it's because of a cultural difference. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, my family, when I was a child, if I didn't behave, my father spanked me, and I understood that if I did it again, I was gonna be spanked. I mean, he never really, hurt me like, oh, I couldn't walk or anything. No, not like that. But they use corporal punishment.
But do you see the concern, or do you understand why that might have been a concern for your neighbor and why the report was made?
I don't think she saw my child running to get the ball. When she opened the door, I was spanking my child, and so I don't think she saw the whole act. It's just literally, holding the bags, my baby here, holding the other one. I just I wish I had more hands. And so when he crossed, I just yelled back, and then I don't think she saw that. If she saw that, probably would have understand. And then, they're Americans, and I don't think they really hit their children or I mean, you see them just yelling back at them, their children are yelling back, and she has to be calling them so many times and they don't listen, So my husband is very strict, and we believe that, we have to do something so they can pay attention. I mean, we don't punish them all the time,
So do you mind telling me some of those things that you do to help them?
Well, we do time out. We do time out. We don't want to, but in this instant, to be honest with you, I just really didn't think. I was so desperate. I was so worried. I just just give him 2 spanks and just said, do not do this again. You're gonna be ran over. But my husband, we take stuff away from them, toys. We put them in timeout, for 5 minutes or stuff like that. But
Miss Claire, I'm glad I came to see you. I'm glad I came to understand, your side of the story. And I do understand that you did act out of concern for your child, and that's very admirable. I'm very pleased that you want to be involved in your children's lives. And so, I've taken some notes, and I would like to probably meet with you, you know, again, so we can discuss, you know, how we can get around or understand the situation better, and try to see how we can avoid, you know, such incidents in the future. Even though I do understand, you know, how it must have been for you, you know, but it is, you know, we unfortunately we don't it's against the law to do corporal punishment here. You know, whether you agree with it or not, that's a completely different story. You know, because especially people from different cultural backgrounds, they have an issue with that. So, and I understand. And so I would love to speak with you some more on this, okay? But right now, you know, I've taken some notes, and we can probably meet again, probably next week. You know?
Okay.
We can discuss how we can move forward.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be good. I don't want to have this in my record either.
No,
you know, it's affecting my family reputation.
And I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for allowing me to come into your beautiful home.
Sure, it's humble. We don't have that much.
No, that's
This is our little.
no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay.
So take care,
All right.
Miss Clara. And
Okay.
have a wonderful day.
All right, you
Bye-bye.
too.